Mike Tyson once said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And this is so true when it comes to Max Verstappen. This guy was dominating at the start of the year. Now he's just nowhere. Seventh fastest car. This guy's been punched in the face, punched in the stomach, and punched in the balls. And he's down on the ground, going up to a number 10 here. We don't know how far up to 10 it's going to go, but guys, he's struggling, and it's only getting worse because Malaysia's coming up here in 2 rounds' time, and they're going to struggle like hell.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Wow. So guys, it's the Monza Italiano Grand Prix reaction. I am in multiple moods going here. I just am so embarrassed almost that McLaren, what they're doing, they did not give the position to Lando Norris for the championship. This is 2 races now where they have just blown it. In Hungary, they let Piastri by. And now again, yes, it was only a 2nd position, but that is valuable points they're throwing away against Max Verstappen. But at the same time, lads, great win for Ferrari. Unbelievable. Well done to the Ferrari fans and the Tifosi, everybody, and the Ferrari pit crew, and especially Charles Leclerc. Absolutely exceptional. Let's get into it, guys. So, ladies and gents, well, let's look at the backstory here before we get into the rest of the news here. Guys, you know, it was a very entertaining Grand Prix, I thought. There was a lot told, which without everything been told, if you get me. In other words, you can see Red Bull are they are struggling, man. You can see it written all over Max Verstappen's face, and I know what this feels like. Believe me, every racing driver's been there. You've got the pace, you're the quickest guy, or, you know, you might be the quickest guy, but sometimes you might finish 2nd or 3rd, right? But all of a sudden, it's like the ground has just broken up around Red Bull here, lads. This is a very, very concerning time for Red Bull. And they were, 7th in qualifying. Then they finished 6th in the race. Not much an eventful race for them, in fairness, to a degree. Like, in other words, they weren't tearing the world apart here. I mean, even Max Verstappen said it before the start of the race. He said that they're the 7th quickest car. And he was dead right. The 7th quickest car. It wasn't that they'd some bad luck. That's worrying, lads. I know what that feeling's like. You're like, when he finished 7th in qualifying, his heart must have sunk to the ground. It'd be like seeing your ex-girlfriend out on a date with some other guy and just going, dying on the spot. That's the type of feeling it is, lads. It's horrifying. And Christian Horner, I don't think that guy knows where to turn here. Adrian Newey, what's going on with Adrian Newey, lads? This is so weird. And, you know, today it was one of those races that it could have gone either way. I mean, obviously Ferrari, brilliant timing for pit stops, lads. That's where they won it today. And obviously McLaren, they messed up a little bit in the pit stops too. So it was a bit of both, but it was mainly Ferrari now that they really timed that just beautifully. And they know as well, lads, that a lot of teams would know this, whether you're in karting or in Formula 1, is that because Monza is not one of those tracks that is hugely strenuous on tires, they could afford to keep going. In other words, they knew that really Ferrari, oh lads, you know, we need to be coming in. Like if they were at Monaco or some other track now, lads, they would have had to have come in for another pit stop because the stress on the tires and the wear and tear on the tires, it would have been too much. Whereas at Monza, they knew they'd get away with it. And it was very smart by them. And I think actually that's where they caught everybody out today. That was their key, lads. They knew they didn't have to go into that pit. They can struggle, and Leclerc, you could see he was obviously really struggling in the last few laps. I mean, I think, was it Piastri got a 1.4 second faster lap than him on the second last lap. That's a huge lap time. But they had enough in the tank. They had enough in the tyre wear and the tyre rubber. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful result by them. Very, very clever by Ferrari. So hats off to them. Great result. And great for the Tifosi. Now, let's talk about, we're going to do a short one today, lads. And you know what we're going to do next in the next few days, we're going to be doing a couple of clips now on YouTube. We're going to be doing 3 to 4 minute clips, getting into more detail. But we're just talking about the race for today. McLaren. Hey, they lost the race. You can't win them all. I mean, I was even saying that last week, right? It's a big ask to be trying to win all 9 races. So you can't fault them for not winning today. They got outsmarted in the pits. They made a couple of mistakes in the pit lane itself, changing tires, etc. for both drivers. They weren't on their A game. And look, you know, it's not the end of the world. And, you know, guys, before I even talk about this, my rant here, I'm a big Oscar Piastri fan. I love that guy. I love the McLaren team. I love Norris now. I'm rooting for McLaren. But I'm almost embarrassed at what McLaren did today. I would even think Ron Dennis is just like, oh, jeez, lads, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're dragging our name through the mud here. What are you doing, lads? They should have got Oscar Piastri to move over and get Lando Norris in second position. They've just given up a rack of points again, lads. What are they doing? I mean, I know the racing world, and I can tell you this, lads. People in the pit lanes like to gossip. Okay? They like to gossip. And I guarantee you, every team in that pit lane, whether obviously they're focusing on their own stuff, but they'll have that moment where they go, hey man, can you believe McLaren didn't let him through again? And you can see the other guy, I know, right? Christian Horner and Adrian Newey, these lads are just going, oh, really? Am I imagining this? Seriously, there's no way Christian Horner would have allowed this happen. There's no way Vassar, Ferrari, Toto Wolff, any of the other team bosses, there's no way on this earth they would have let this happen. Twice! Do they even, like, honestly, lads, this might sound like a stupid question, right? But you'd have to start thinking this way. Do they even care about winning the championship? I'm being unbelievably serious. This is so blatantly obvious that something is missing. Are they sniffing glue in the car park? What are they doing, lads? It just doesn't make sense. Now, at the start of the race, lads, you could see Norris got a good start. Oscar Piastri comes up behind him and overtakes him, right? Some people were saying it was a bit of a dodgy move. It wasn't actually. It wasn't a dodgy move. It was a risky and bold move because you've got the two boys and a lot of team bosses and the drivers know that we shouldn't be getting tangled up with my teammate. And the fact that Norris is going for the championship. So for Piastri to do it, he was 100% right. In other words, he's given Norris the FU, right? He's given him the finger. Literally given him the finger, lads. Now look, I've just gone online and recorded this just after the race, all right? So maybe we'll find out different things during the rest of the interviews, etc. Did Piastri refuse to move over? I don't think so. Maybe. Right? And the team were actually wanting him to do it. But lads, I didn't see it because there's no radio oversight, and we didn't hear anything in the in-car radio to get him to overtake. And believe me, if Zach Norris was on the ball, if Oscar Piastri was refusing to overtake, Zach Brown would have wanted people to hear him say, I want you to move over, man, because he would have wanted the world to know that he's trying to do the right thing and get his boy, Norris, into a position where he can win the championship. And we got 8 rounds to go. Time is running out here, boys. You're on the clock. This is a ticking time bomb. I'm ashamed. And yeah, there was some people giving me a bit of crap there on YouTube only a few days ago. I'm rooting for McLaren, lads. I'm rooting for them. I want them to do this job. Now, hey, if you're a Verstappen fan, great, whatever. And it looks like it's going to go in Verstappen's favour. He's got a nice, juicy, healthy lead, lads. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Can they pull it back? I mean, I thought even, lads, that even in Hungary when they let Piastri through, I was thinking, okay, maybe they've lost their minds. Maybe they'll actually gain their minds back at the summer break, and then they'll process it and realize, okay, lads, hey, we got to really push here now with Norris. But they haven't. I'm very, very concerned. Very concerned. And if you're McLaren fans out there, lads, sorry, you're probably concerned just as I am, because this is not healthy, lads. Okay, so look, lads, I think we'll close it off right now. But we got Azerbaijan in 13th, 15th of September, so that's 2 weeks' time. Then we've got Singapore. Now, Singapore is going to be a kryptonite, I think, for Max Verstappen, lads, because the Red Bull car, I'll just leave with this. It's going to be very interesting because in the last few years, as we've all known, Max Verstappen's been dominating. But every time he goes to Malaysia, it's a very, very bumpy track. Now, maybe they've resurfaced it. We don't know yet, but I don't think they have. And if it's bumpy, if the car is going to act the way it has been already, Red Bull are going to be in serious trouble. Last year, he was in 12th position, got up to 10th at one stage, Max Verstappen. In 12th, and he was dominating. So what's happening here, lads, is that car was amazing to generate grip. It was actually generating grip as it was going through corners. That Red Bull car is one of those cars that when you're turning in, you actually need to use the throttle and feed the throttle on with the steering wheel. And the more you actually feed the throttle on, the more grip you get. Now, it kind of goes against the normal scenario where you brake in a straight line, you turn in with the speed and you're carrying the speed in and braking in, and at the same time then when you're getting to the apex, you're waiting till you get to the apex and then you put the power down and feed it on. That's most cars. But this one, you've actually got to get on the power before the apex and it self-generates that grip. It was a brilliant car, now it's struggling, and Malaysia seems to just knock off everything. The bumps, I think it upsets the balance of the car. So Max Verstappen, and I'd have a lot more hope if they actually let Norris through today and take the second position and get more points. And then I'd be very excited for coming up for Malaysia because they could then really capitalize against Verstappen. They're letting Verstappen off the hook. Anyway, lads, let's leave it there. I'll talk to you later.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Walsh.